at that. What do you got going on there? Oh, you're on the forearm. All right. There we go. I think you got me in the forearm. I got the bicep, but not the forearm. Look at that. That's crazy. That's a very interesting face. That's great. Oh man, yeah, it's been a big week. How was your weekend? You would have been running around all over the place following. There was a whole bunch of different live streams that were happening all weekend. You were on the fix last night. You had all sorts of things happening. We had the New South Wales state titles that took place yesterday in obviously New South Wales. We had Mario Tambakis ended up taking out the right and the left on 95 kilos and above, and we had Taryn Broad from South Australia taking out the under 80 kilos left and right. I didn't quite catch the under 95s. I'm trying to find out who picked up the wins there, but we will at some point find out. But one of the things that I did notice that I wanted to highlight here was watching the under 80 kilos class. There wasn't a single person that I noticed throughout the entire class that was over the age of 25. Really interesting to sort of see that the youth are really pushing forwards and pushing up in this world of arm wrestling. We're seeing younger and younger people sort of choosing arm wrestling as the sport that they want to sort of gravitate towards, which is amazing. We're getting more and more people coming along to our club at the South Australian SA Titans. Lost a match myself to a 17-year-old a couple of weeks ago, which was a nice kick in the pants. But this is the future, and it's amazing to see the growth of the sport heading in that direction.
Yeah, man. As you said, lots going on. Man, I'm just glad that you randomly messaged me this afternoon and said, "Hey, man, you up for an episode of The Deep End?" Because I was like, I said to you, I'm in that weird, confused state where I was up super late last night. I was up super early this morning. I'm awake and alert, but I feel like I'm just half asleep. So, but interesting weekend nonetheless. I've just, by the way, 5 of you guys in the chat, legends, all 5 of you, by the way. We've got 5 watching. I don't know where they're from, but then these are the loyalists. These 5 here, probably the most loyal damn 5 subscribers we got. But look at it. Oh, Sap the Bee is the first man to comment. You know, there's a theory on who Sap the Bee is. Do you have a theory? Have you heard the theory?
Yeah, I think in the last one that we went on, there was a lot of guesses, and then there was a lot of confident people that said that they definitely knew who it was, but they wouldn't say. I'm thinking it was somebody in North America, but not sure exactly who it is.
I think it's the word on the street is it's Murray Mackay from Western Australia.
Oh, really?
Super chats in Australian dollars. Just has a flavor like Murray. He's a massive, massive, massive Muhammad Ali fan. Because when we posted, remember when we made the video about Devon and the parallels with Muhammad Ali?
Yes.
Sap the Bee was severely upset in the comment section. He was like, "How could you dare?" And I'm like, "Man, that's Murray. I know that Murray loves Ali like so much. So Murray, thank you for joining. Thank you for being the first commenter. If I'm wrong, I'd be surprised."
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Well, if he is a Muhammad Ali fan, one of the things that we did talk about was the Rumble in the Jungle with Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, and that amazing documentary When We Were Kings, which highlighted Ali's tactics going into that match. And everyone thought that he was going to be using the stick and move. You should be a pro detective. Yes. Well, hey, I haven't put my skills to your case as of yet, but maybe I will. But we might have already solved the mystery if Ryan's got a pretty good handle on where you're at. But yeah, we were talking about Muhammad Ali and George Foreman and the comparison that those two guys had leading into their match with Levan and Devon. And I just loved the strategy that Muhammad Ali had going into that match, that he used the right-hand lead. 12 times he landed that right-hand lead in that first round. A right-hand lead, for those who aren't aware with boxing, is one of the slowest punches you can throw. And you basically, after your first lesson at boxing, they'd be like, don't throw a right-hand lead. It's the slowest thing you could throw. You need to throw a jab. A jab, if you're right-handed, you'd be throwing a jab with your left hand. It's fast. It sets up your power punch with your right hand. And so Muhammad Ali would know, he knew that nobody would have thrown a right hand lead at George Foreman for about 20 years.
Well,
That's right. It's insulting. It's an insulting thing to throw. And he threw 12 and landed 12 in that first round. So that was those tactics that it's like, those little insider things that just make you jump up and down and go, oh, that was so amazing. And obviously use the rope-a-dope tactic, which, nobody had seen before being implemented at that level. Most people that were watching that match live thought that it was George Foreman beating a very weak Muhammad Ali. That's how it looked. It looked like Muhammad Ali sitting in the ropes getting destroyed. But he knew what he was doing. He was putting his weight on George. He was talking to George. He was saying, you ain't breaking popcorn with those punches, George. You ain't nobody. My mother hits harder than that. And
you guys haven't looked at yet. Matt Connolly really knows his stuff. When you ask Matt Connolly about something that's a subject matter that he has taken an interest to in his lifetime, he will not only tell you how it went down in detail, he'll tell you the name of the best friend of the dude who placed a bet on the opponent and lost his house in the process and got a divorce. Like, Matt knows every detail. Murray, when you mentioned, or Sap, sorry, when you said he's a detective, there's the comment there, Sap the Beast saying, Matt, I thought you were a pro detective. Trust me, he is. He's just got to be interested in the subject, and then he knows everything there is to know about it. I love listening to you talk about sport and business to do with sport. It's super freaking fascinating. Hey, and I just want to say good day to everyone in there. We got Seal Hiccup. Thank you for coming in, man. He says, hey, fellas, hello from Haida Gwaii. Where's Haida Gwaii? Sounds Japanese, doesn't it?
I'm going to Google it right now.
Haida Gwaii. As he does that, I'll say a g'day to a few more people. We got Nashville Arm Wrestling. Sub Blue, dang, sold out Devon. Laugh out loud, just kidding. It was a good video. Nashville Arm Wrestling's obviously just watched the video that I just released on my main channel, where the moment that broke Devon Larratt. Now I'm gonna set Matt Connolly off on another speech in a moment. Wait for it, Matt. I have a particular question that relates to Nashville Arm Wrestling. So Nashville, stick around. You're gonna get a detailed lesson very shortly from Matt Connolly. But I'll say a couple more hellos first. Devon, thank you for that question, ma'am. Will I can open an array? If I can, look, round 3 is where I'll play. If all things are going to plan by round 1 and 2, round 3 is where I'll have a bit of fun. And maybe a stone wall in the hook, and then a can opener might be on the cards. I don't know. That sounds entertaining to me. I like it. Good stuff. All right. So the question that I wanted to throw to you, Matt Connolly, Nashville Arm Wrestling. Obviously watched the video, and I don't know, I'm assuming he enjoyed it. He says it's a good video. Sold out Devon. But there's something particular about that video that you steered me towards when it came to how I tell the story of that moment. And it was to do with emotions. Can you tell me what advice you gave me and why the hell it's so damn important to get that right?
Absolutely. Yeah, emotions tell the story. If you get a connection with the audience, that's what you're looking for. In that video that you put out, the one you've just released, you're capturing both sides. You're capturing Levan fans and you're capturing Devon fans with that. So the Levan fans are going to be watching because they wanted to see Devon having lost and feel the impact that had on him. So as a Levan fan, it's like, well, here's the opponent, and Levan did such an amazing job. Here's his opponent in despair. Whereas from the other side of it, if you're a Devon fan, you're feeling that devastation along with Devon, and you're getting that connection from his pain is your pain, because you both sort of feeling it. You both wanted yourselves to, like, if you're watching and you're hoping that Devon Larratt is going to win this match and you're invested in it, and then he doesn't, he loses, and you're getting those moments of pain sort of highlighted to you in slow motion and each round, and it's just more and more. It's like, it's hard to watch, and people are saying that in the comments that this was a hard watch, and it was for me as well. Like, I'm a Devon fan as well. I mean, Levan is incredible.
That's
the guys.
Exactly what I want to hear. That it's a hard watch, that it's stirred up all those same emotions of and heartache that people experience when they watched it the first time, but they get it in a condensed version, and it's memorable because of it. And guys, if you don't know, again, Matt Connolly, his expertise in at least in my world, his expertise is way more developed than mine in the field of production, in the field of knowing what good entertainment, good on-screen entertainment, what the components of that actually are, how to story tell. So this dude's the bomb, just so you know. And yeah, if it wasn't for Matt Conley, none of those videos would have happened. It would have been a very news reporty style video that I would have done or something, which would have been super boring. Yeah, but anyway.
Yeah,
So
well,
good
hey,
question.
I'm copying the people who've done it before me. You know, I'm seeing the guys that from the UFC. As I said, the first thing I saw, 1993, UFC came around, and I saw the way that they grew as a company and the directions that they changed. Each different change and each moment that they put into production to push the story, and how they became better and better and better until the point where they literally sold their company for $4 billion. I mean, you don't do that from a $30 million in debt position without some very clever moves. So yes,
Yeah.
I'm repeating that knowledge of watching what they did to you.
Appreciate it. Hey, Must Love Guy, thank you very much for the comment there. He says, I don't put much in the chat, but we just want to say thanks for the great content. As a lorry driver with no radio, your content helps make my day go by. And the video with your daughter, it was wholesome. Thank you very much, Muscle Up Guy. That's awesome. Man, truck drivers, they keep the world going, don't they, at the end of the day? Without you guys, it stops pretty quickly. So I appreciate what you do as well, man. Thank you for keeping that chain alive. And yeah, Eliza, she's the strongest girl I know. She's had like 57 general anesthetic surgeries. She's only 12. It's crazy. And she still has a smile on her face every day. So she's pretty special. But thank you, man, for that support. Hey, we got a question from Muakutu. Ryan, do you think it's better for arm wrestlers, barbell bench or dumbbell bench? I can tell you that there are... Look, first of all, strength is never a weakness. That I truly believe in. Any form of strength that's more than you had last year is going to translate to the table in a positive effect. There are certain strengths that are more valuable than others, that have a greater effect in disengaging your opponent. And bench pressing is a long way down the list, if I'm honest. Starts with things like wrist rise, finger pressure, pronation, wrist flexion, bicep brachialis sort of pressures, the elbow side pressure. All of that's way more important than the bench press. Look, if all things are even in those regards, it gets down to, okay, who's got things like, yeah, better chest, better center table push, and things like that. Now, so it's really not that relevant. Like, there's a lot of elite arm wrestlers that have terrible bench presses, and there's a lot of elite bench presses amongst arm wrestlers that aren't all that high on the ranks. So it's not a direct correlation. But in answer to your question, I would say, for me personally, when I have done some benching, it's been for a rehabilitation purpose. I like the JM press, which Todd Hutchins taught me, which is almost like an inside out press. To be honest, I've been able to effectively do them with both. But for me personally, I'm going dumbbells because I hate training my left arm. And my left arm is so much weaker than my right that picking up a barbell, my right doesn't get the adequate workout because my left is tapping out way before my right's ready to. So I go dumbbells.
The bar is tilted one way or the other. It's
It
always
does. It seriously does. If I try to do a strict curl, for instance, a barbell strict curl, the number is so disappointing, and it's all my left's fault. If you watch me strict curl, the left is lagging, my right's like picking it up for it. It's like taking 1.2 of the load or something. I don't know. Come on, left. Just do something.
That's great.
Just one. So I'm dumbbells all the way.
Yeah, that's fair enough. No, that's fair enough.
Comments in here. Let's catch up with Sap the Bee. Here he is, Murray Mackay, Sap the Bee. What did you think about the convo at the end of the fix about Devon refusing to pull on WAF rules? Do you, being completely opposed to pull in rule sets that don't suit him, affect his legacy? Or do you think, okay, to be honest, Sap, I don't actually even remember that. I was on the fix. Are you talking about the one that was on like just a few hours ago? Like, like 8 hours, 10 hours ago. I don't even remember that. Did I miss it? Or was this an episode that I wasn't on? Let me know in the chat, Sap, if you're still around. And here's the man. Actually, speak of the devil, we're talking about the fix, and here he is, Neil Pickup. He said, "Arm wrestling is ridiculous at the moment. You're live. You hit the bed, hit the hay, and as soon as you wake up, someone else is doing another arm wrestling related live." Yeah, man, we've been rolling the lives from live to live to live. I don't know what time it is, Neil. I don't know if I'm asleep. I don't know if I'm
Ryan's
awake.
still awake from the fix.
Okay, so Sap said it. Yes, it was the episode of The Fix with Engen, which is okay. I think it was on today. I must have been reading the chat at the time. So back to Sap's question, and Neil, I'd love to hear your response to this as well, because I don't even recall it. But there's the question one more time. What do you think about the combo at the end of The Fix about Devon refusing to pull in WAF rules? Do you being completely opposed to that rule? Do you think it affects his legacy? So, look, what I know of Devon when it comes to rules and when it comes to organizations that he's pulled under, I don't actually think he fears anything. I think that the same person usually ends up on top, regardless of the rule sets. The right people find their way to the front of the pack. Devon hasn't pulled strict WAF. Like if we're talking WAF, like actual WAF, not, or are we just talking anywhere in Europe? Because there's plenty of non-WAF European things as well. But if it's specific WAF, like he went there once or something, finished second to John, I think, in the only WAF that John ever pulled where he won it. But Devon's a dude he's outgrown the need to go and pull tournaments. He has. He doesn't need to go and pull tournaments. I hope he gets involved in the East vs West. Would that satisfy it? I don't know. For Sap, like for someone like Sap, I know Sap's a fan of the purest style of arm wrestling. He wants that legacy to include that, and I think he expects that of Devon. I think that in his eyes, it would fix a lot of the problems for Devon. But Devon has outgrown it, and Devon will go where he goes. I mean, he's in a place now where I think he's talking about coming back down to 240 pounds, and at 240 pounds, I'd love to see him chase the number one rank in the world at that rate. I.e., there's Hutchins, Brzenk, Irakli, Prudnik, all those people for him to compete in. And if he does that at East vs West, I think that satisfies it. I don't think there's much that can really damage his legacy. You see it anyway? Different, Matt?
No, I think the danger with pulling under the WAF rules, if you're going to have a super match at that level, especially against Levan, this is basically for the number one in the world. The last thing you want to do is see a match end on fouls. And with the strictness of WAF rules, where you've got matches that potentially end on fouls, there's a high percentage chance that you're not going to get to see an actual arm wrestle. And when it's literally the biggest match of all time that's happened at that level with the arm wrestling world watching, the last thing and the worst thing that could happen is if you have these two guys get up on stage, you have 6 rounds, and let's say 4 of them end on fouls. You don't actually get to see any arm wrestling. So I think it's smart of Devon to say, look, the WAF rules have their place. If we're going to go into a super match, I want to actually arm wrestle. I don't want to be like fouled out because this and that, all these micro fouls or this or these things. It's like we want to make this as entertaining as possible, and we want to make this as fun as possible for the viewing audience. I think he made an absolutely fantastic decision to do that, and I'm glad that Levan went along with that as well.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, Sap the B says yes, East vs West would satisfy his requirement. And I don't know. I haven't spoken to Devon about this prospect in particular, but I know as he winds down from the peak that was his attempt at beating Levan, he's going to come back down to a more normal body weight, and that he wants to just travel and enjoy arm wrestling again. Well, East vs West is, I hope it's very appealing. I don't know. I suspect it would be. Like, why wouldn't it be? I would love to see him pull some 6-round super matches under East vs West, as would we all. I think it'd be amazing. Hey, Honest Critic, thank you very much for the support. He says, I want to give you guys a super chat, but I'm not able to. Yes, we are not. Neither of us are monetized yet. Not on these channels. This is the Ryan Blue Bone Raw and the Hollywood Matt Connolly channel. Neither monetized. I've got the sub numbers. I need the watch time. So look, man, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. in place of that, go and hit the share button for me on your favorite video of mine somewhere. That'd mean the world to me. But thank you very much, and do that for Matt Conley too. Make sure you give him a sub too. That would be amazing. But thank you, Honest Critic, for that support. So let's have a look at what else is in this comment section.
Got the usual suspects in here. Marcus Thompson is. I did see him pop up. He said he hasn't been to bed yet either.
Oh goodness me, yeah. That's the life of people who get stuff done, isn't it? They sleep when the job's done. They don't sleep when they're tired. They sleep when the job's done. Big difference.
Exactly.
All right. Let's have a look through. Marco says, I wish I could listen all day, but instead I have to hear garbage radio at work. Marco, just go tell the boss, hey, I got something better. Chuck it on. And yeah, man, either way, thank you for support. It's pretty cool. Marcus, there it is. Yeah, Marcus has not been to bed yet. I forget where Marcus is from, what part of the world he's from.
Where is Marcus Ireland? From? He's just put up the Irish flag just then.
Read the comments, no.
You haven't been to bed. It's fair enough.
So what's the time? I don't know. I think it's 5 a.m. or something, 6 a.m. Marcus hasn't been to bed. So Marcus, you're an animal. Well done. Okay. Arm Wars number 1, says Marcus. There he is, a follow-up. Big fan of the Arm Wars brand. Yeah, Arm Wars was actually my start point in terms of exposure to professional arm wrestling. It was the first organization that I discovered where I just knew that there was something coming on next week. So cool. I was watching on bloody pay TV. I went out and bought Foxtel. I'd never had Foxtel in my life, but I went out and got Foxtel because I knew arm wrestling was going to be on there. And that was damn exciting. It was Neil, if you're still watching, help me out. What was the channel? It was
Eurosport, wasn't it?
Eurosports. There it is. Thank you. I was going to say esports. I'm like, it's not esports. What the hell?
Maybe according to Ray, it's East versus North.
Yeah. But yeah, Arm Wars was my start point. It was what drew me in and what made me want to go for it. Yeah. Hey, the Drew says, might as well give me a wrench on this channel. Absolutely, Drew. Let me just work on that. Let me just jump over here. There's a few people.
Obviously a long-time supporter of arm wrestling. He's on every single arm wrestling video, putting his YouTube algorithm boosting comments. He was on my stream yesterday for a couple of hours, had a good chat with him, one of the foundation members of the arm wrestling community. So thank you, Drew.
Yeah, you keep talking for a moment, man. I gotta just sort this out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what. No, as I was saying, yesterday we had the stream going. We had the New South Wales state titles taking place, and one of the things that really stood out to me was the fact in the under 80 kilo division, everyone that was in that division was 25 years or younger, which was just outstanding to me. It was like that this sport is starting to hit the younger generation, and people are choosing arm wrestling as the thing that they want to do.
Is there a difference between the cultures of arm wrestling in the sense that when we talk about East and West, the average age of East dominant guys is significantly younger than the average age of the West's best guys? What do you see there, and why is that?
Yeah, I think it's cultural. I think that it's part of their youth. They're getting introduced to the sport a lot younger, and it's a big thing over in Europe. It's something that hasn't reached that same level in the Western cultures and the Southern cultures, but it is rising and doing stuff like what we're doing now. You're talking about it, making content, making people aware that arm wrestling is a real thing and is a real sport. That's where you're going to start boosting the people that have that interest. And we are seeing that now, which is just amazing to me, that literally at a state tournament, 25 years was the oldest person that I could see in that whole division. So the people are choosing, hey, I want to be an arm wrestler. I choose that this is something I really enjoy. And it's like they're not going football. They're not going soccer. They're not going, with the traditional sports that, are available to them. They're like, well, arm wrestling is something that I really want to do. And I've realized that it's a sport and there's a club, and they go and join, and then they get good enough, they enter tournaments, and that growth is getting bigger and bigger all the time, and it's just such an amazing thing to see. It's been over the last few years, it's just really pushing and pushing. It's just getting better and better.
Turns up to a club now, when they turn up and they said they've never pulled before, and you go, okay, so this is your first session, they grip you and they move like a badass. You're like, what the hell, this dude? So it's different. It's an exciting time. Hey, Sanka's got a good question for us. Sanka says, Ryan, do you think it's disrespectful if Levan wants to pull two top North Americans in the same event? Wouldn't that be a fun experiment in the Supermatch format? My gut feeling that is, I think it's dumb. I don't like it at all. I don't like a 2-on-1. It's too, to me, it's too kind of circus. I don't know. Levan is amazing. I don't want to see Levan's legacy tarnished in any way. And I feel like a circus kind of king of the table might not be good. I don't know. It just doesn't sit with me. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I don't like it for exactly the same reasons that you said. Look, you're going to have a super match. It's got to be built up between those two opponents. It's you by doing something like that, where you have two people on one, you're saying that the level between Levan and everyone else. I mean, sure, reality is he's way above like number two. He's standing out from the crowd. I get what you're trying to say. Like, hey, this is the only way we can give a challenge to him, but it really doesn't help the sport. It would almost in some ways be detrimental, because if he just crushes two people in a row, it's like, well, what's going to happen next time? You're going to put three people against him. I mean, where does it end in that term? And it sort of diminishes the value of those two arm wrestlers. Like, if you're getting the opportunity to go against the number one of the world, and it's like, say you're the second person to have the super match, and you might do well, and it's like, everyone's like, well, yeah, you only did well because he literally just went against somebody else. Just, I don't think it works. As I said, as you said, it seems more circusy. You got to have the one match, and if you build it up properly, that would be the standout.
Is Devin Larratt still the most sought after match when it comes to viewers in the world? Or has Levan taken that? Or like is it still Devin? And I ask that because of the storytelling format, and I know that as a producer, we want to give the sport the best story, and Devin's story is so rich. What's the right thing for the sport? Do you stay on the Devin bus, or do we start beating the arm wrestling fans of the world with a stick, saying no more Devin for you, no more Devin for you, just have a break, damn it, learn to like someone else as well? What do we do?
Yeah, the important thing is that if you've got stars at the elite level, and they are stars, I mean, Devin is the mega star. Let's say a comparison again to the UFC. You got your Conor McGregor. If you use Conor McGregor too much, if you overexpose your stars, their value in the audience, it does diminish. It does start to drop. That excitement is not at the same level. You've got to be very careful about your people that are at the absolute top, to only bring them out every now and then, because the build up and the hunger that people will have to see them, it rises over time. Whereas if you're seeing them regularly, it becomes, oh yeah, well, I can miss this one because he's going to pull again in like next month or in a couple of months, and I'll watch it then. You're really diminishing the value of that elite person. What you need to do is you need to identify, well, who are the elite people that are bringing in the most pay-per-view numbers, the most attention, and you pair them on a card with other people that you are trying to rise in the sport. You need to have a solid undercard, which giving people the opportunity to rise and create their own stardom, because when those upper level guys are not available through injury or through overexposure, you've built somebody else up to maybe not the same level, but they have an opportunity to become a star as well. So if you're not doing that, that's where your sport and that's where your future just really crashes, because you're relying so much on the upper level guys. And if they're not available, or if they retire, if they get injured, who have you got? You haven't built anybody in their place. You always need to be building people up, building people up. This is the next guy, giving mass exposure. And that's why I was disappointed with the Levan and Devin match, that they only had 2 undercard matches. I mean, this was a massive match. Have 10 matches on there. people don't have to watch all 10. Say, look, this is the undercard. You don't have to watch it. This is when the main card starts. This is where the absolute guys are that you want to see. But here's 6 other matches with guys that if you are an arm wrestling fan, you're probably going to be sitting there and watching. And you might see an amazing match and be like, oh, I'm a fan of this guy now because you got the opportunity to actually see him. So next time he gets on a card, it's like, oh, I remember that guy from the last card. So you're building these other characters beneath the surface.
You guys see why I rate Matt Connolly when it comes to stuff about stuff?
Well, it's like yourself. I mean, with when you went on the WL, I mean, when you first applied and said to Neil, well, it was for Arm Wars, but you said, hey, I want to be on this, and he responded and said, you need to build yourself a profile first. Then I can start to use you because you've got some footage, you've got some notoriety, and you can be a character, a story that I can sell and I can start to build. Because if you just put a no-name person on there with no background, it's very difficult to build them from that. It's like, well, what have you got to show me? It's almost like a portfolio. If you're going to go for a job and it's like, well, I've got the credentials, I've got a diploma in engineering. It's like, yeah, but what can you do? What have you done? It's like, but if you go in and say, look, these are the things I've built, this is what I can do, and this is the history of the stuff that you can point to, then that carries so much more weight than the actual just qualifications. Yeah, I'm an arm wrestler. Yeah, I'm good. Well, what can you show me? Well, why would I put you on my card? Do you have personality? Do you have content? Do you have something that I can show my audience that they would be interested in seeing you?
Way more. You need way more, for sure. Hey, Sap the Bee has got an interesting question here about Devon. I know that we just said we're going to stop talking about Devon, but hey, we're talking about Devon again. But that's what we do in the arm wrestling world. We talk about Devon. Does the 242 move basically mean that Devon will never pull Hermes despite the guy calling him out for years on end? I don't know. Hey, I haven't spoken to Devon on this either. Again, I just don't know. I know that I've spoken to Hermes. About 3 weeks ago, I spoke to Hermes, and he said to me there's only 2 people he really wants, Devon or Levon. They were the only 2 names that he said he's really obsessed about in his mind when it comes to his training. And so he certainly wants it. But, things will happen, yeah, that if Devon does drop down to 242, there's going to be an assumption that Hermes has gone past him by a lot of people. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes it's unfortunate because we miss out on fan favorite matches that could have happened because, let's be honest, the Devon v. Hermes match is a big match. But everything comes in waves and that. And I think that this is a match that, as Matt has alluded to, when we talk about story, it's very rich in story. And even if we miss it on this first pass, it'll come back. These guys will be at the right moment in time at some point. It may not be as soon as we'd like, but I think that these guys will face. I can't imagine. It's just like me and RVJ. Me and RVJ will face. I don't know when. I don't know where. But like, if I had to say, is there one person out there in the world that I'm certain I'll face someday? I would say it's RVJ. There's been so much that it just feels inevitable. And I feel like Hermes and Devon are in that same category. They will face. I don't know when, but they will. Sap. But good question, man. Seth Dixon reckons I hurt Ray's feelings today. I hope you're all right. All right, Ray. Good morning, Ray, if you're watching. Ray's just getting in the zone. That's all. He's getting his defenses up. His mental, physical barriers are starting to go up. It's wartime. It's go time. So I understand it's all good. Marcus or Drew24 says, Marcus, you maxed out your daily limits on super chats. Yep, Marcus banned from super chats on this channel. In fact, all of you are. None of you can do it. Instead, just go share something or go subscribe to Matt Connolly for me. That'll do. Hey, Neil Pickup answers a question that we asked before when it talks about legacy and WAF events. Thank you, Neil, for giving this response. Neil Pickup said, neither Devon or John, apart from a couple of times, really pulled in the WAF events. There are some very obvious reasons that once at a certain stage in their career, many arm wrestlers choose not to. WAF specifically, I think John, from memory, I think he only went there once, and he was paid to go there by a WAF promoter or something like that. because John was otherwise it's like there's no prize money at a WAF tournament. It's like, what's the incentive for someone like John or someone like Devin to go to a tournament where it's what's it doing for them? It doesn't really do anything. John went because he got paid and he won the gold and went home. There's no highlights reels you can look up of the WAF. They don't tell story. They don't make promotions particularly at all. So there comes a point when the sport becomes your career. Given that the sport doesn't pay stupid amounts of money like a lot of other sports, you have to go where the value is. And the value for someone like Devin is often in that space where there's entertainment involved as well, because he's very good at that. But thank you, Neil, pick up for that comment there. Marcus Thompson says it's 7 past 7. What time do you go to bed, Matt Connolly? You're always awake.
Well, I haven't been to bed for a few days. I don't remember. I think Friday night, maybe.
You're an animal. You're a personal trainer from midnight to 6 a.m. Is that correct?
Yeah, 10 till 6, Monday to Friday at the gym.
And
then, yeah.
You do a million things. I don't know how you do it. You're an animal. The B is back. It says, Neil, John pulled in strict rules all the time. All the Zlotties, East vs West, etc. PAL is even stricter than WAF, so I don't think you can compare him to Devin. Yeah, look, they are two very different people. And they're largely two very different people in terms of their arm wrestling track record because of their jobs. John famously became an aircraft mechanic so he could travel the world to arm wrestle. He knew that he wanted to be an arm wrestler, and he knew that the best way to become a great arm wrestler was to get exposure everywhere and just absorb everyone's energy and styles and adapt. And so he did. He made a choice specific to arm wrestling, where Devin's choice was a very different one. It was Special Forces soldier. So he was deployed for the most part of the year during his prime military days. So look, I was someone in the military. I know what it's like. You get deployed. And Special Forces, they get deployed a hell of a lot. If they're not deployed, they're on exercise. So the windows of opportunity for Devin were far less. And therefore, it was all about, all right, what can I do with my time? I don't think it takes away from the man at all. Yeah, you can say John's arm wrestling resume is far more significant because of all the reasons you said, and I do agree with you. And yes, we'd love to have seen Devin had 10 matches against Saplenkov and all those guys in his career. It would be fantastic if that was in the data history, but it's not. But the reason is a valid reason. I don't think we can look down on that at all. And hopefully, you never know, it's not too late. Devin says he'll do this till he dies, and I think he's still going to be a badass for a long time. So hopefully we still get time to see him in that environment. See it any differently, Matt?
No, I think you're absolutely correct. Yeah, with the Zloty tour, is that run under?
That was the Nemiroff.
Right.
Yeah, and that's they call it rigid rules. It's very similar. I think probably exactly the same rules, just enforced in a rigid manner. They actually call it Igor calls it rigid rules.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, all right. Let's have a look at what's going on. Neil Pickups chimed in. He said, if you look at most of the world's top pros, particularly in the higher classes, over the last 10 to 15 years, they progressed to professional arm wrestling, i.e. Arm Wars, PAL, WAL, UAL, East versus West. And that is 100% true. I love talking about storyline. I love talking about characters. I love talking about with Matt Connolly about how lightweight athletes can make a name for themselves, and I almost enjoy the case study. Like, I would freaking love it. I would love nothing more to get a message one morning from some obscure nation badass 60-kilo arm wrestler that says to, and he messages me and says, Ryan, I believe I'm the best in the world at my weight. I believe I deserve to be on all those big lights supermat shows, but no one notices me. I just have to pull local, and I only get to pull WAF. Can you help? I would love that message, because look, someone in that situation, man, they create a YouTube channel. They get on there. They declare, they say, ladies and gentlemen, trust me, 2 years from now, I'm going to be the main event of a King of the Table. I don't care what you think now. You've never heard of me. I will be main event of a King of the Table. Arm Wars will be chasing me. East vs West won't be able to afford me. this is what's going to happen 2 years from now. And I'll tell you why, because you watch what damn happens at the next WAF. Watch what I do. I will wreck everyone, and it won't even be close. I dare you to watch the WAF. He puts out a video like that as an opener, and then he starts documenting his preparation to that, and he starts talking and fighting with people online who are saying he can do this, he can't do that, and he says, screw you, just wait and see. Like, it's all there for the taking. Our WAF purists can turn themselves into a Conor McGregor of arm wrestling if they did it. Obviously, they need to actually arm wrestle as well. They can't talk like that and not follow it up, because then they quickly get brushed aside. But if they believe in themselves as much as, like I just described, absolutely, they would end up. Why wouldn't they end up as a main event at the King of the Tower? Imagine that dude coming charging through, wrecking up the WAF, and then saying, "Give me Giannis Amelins. I want the legend Giannis Amelins at the King of the Table. He can be 70 kilos. That's fine. I'll beat him when I'm 60 kilos. Watch me wreck this legend." That is your main event. Boom. Like, whoa, who's this dude? Like, that's what it needs. So WAF, all that sort of stuff.
You're desperate to see that, aren't you? That would be amazing. It is one of those things with arm wrestling. It's everyone in the sport, which is one of its really attractive things, is most people are really humble. They're really nice, lovely people. Everyone's respectful. It's not very often that you find somebody that really talks trash and really pushes themselves out there. And Devin does it really well, and he does it respectfully, and he is humble in defeat if he does lose. He's sort of the epitome of that. But you're right. There isn't anyone else that's really pushing themselves and saying, look at me, I am the guy, I am the guy. And then watch me at this tournament, I'm going to wreck everybody. And then going out and actually wrecking everybody and say, I told you, put me on the next tournament. I'm the man to watch. There's not many people doing that. It's a very rare thing to see.
Recipe, I can say to that person, hey, just so you know, you will be labeled delusional and you will have to deal with a lot of that, because when you fall short, when you miss the mark, when whatever, you're under scrutiny. Like, I virtually have done that. As an athlete, I've done that. I've jumped up and down on social media and said, trust me, watch me, I'm coming, I'll do it. And even still to this day, I go into the match with East vs West, and I know that's something that's under Ray's skin. He doesn't want to be the dude that loses to that dude.
Yeah.
So, but
it is interesting.
It's an interesting match.
What you do is different. What you do is different. And I'll point out what you're doing that's different to what other people are doing. You've added an extra layer to not just saying, hey, I'm the guy, I'm the man, you got to watch me. Not only are you doing that, but you've also got your other side of the professional content creator. So not only you're sort of bringing the attention and saying, like, I'm the guy you're going to watch, I'm going to crush this dude, and hyping your own matches. It's not just that. You've got all the other elements that you bring. You've got your shows, you've got your YouTube stuff, you've got all the other side of it. Whereas most people that are successful in that arena, they only have that one element. They don't talk to the fans. They don't have anything to do with the fans. In fact, they would prefer not to have anything to do with the fans. They don't read the comments. They don't care about your opinion. They don't want to hear from you at all. It's all self-belief. It's just, I'm the man, watch me, I'm going to crush everyone. But to have that, and then also have, I care about the fans, I want to grow the sport, and I really care about pushing this forwards. That's why you're standing out in this industry.
No, I appreciate it, but I love the challenge of making it a career for someone, and I know that there's so many arm wrestlers out there good enough, marketable enough that they could do it if they just did it. That's all it takes. Just freaking do it. Anyway, we are way behind in all the comments section, guys. I'm going to have a quick scroll through, see where people are at. I'll just skim through a bunch of them. Proving Astrology, he said, I'm new to the sport, but I like to think that arm wrestling has a more barbaric origin. Is that the case? And is there still place for matches like that we saw in Game of Arms? Look, yeah, I do. I've heard a lot of people quote it and say arm wrestling is the oldest sport in the world because, look, who hasn't arm wrestled? And I'm sure the cavemen were arm wrestling with each other as well. I loved Game of Arms. I thought it was a fantastic show. It hooked me on the storyline. I freaking loved it. It was underground and dark, and the characters were very well developed. So I really enjoyed that one. I'd always welcome it back, and I think it's got a place for its sport in parallel with all the other big events that we do. What else we got? Marcus Thompson. Drew, I know Cobra only got 10. Evan got a fortune. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I missed that one. I don't know. What's this comment here? I don't know what this is. It says on my screen, it says paired from Drew24. YouTube algorithm boosting comment. The man who comments on everything. YouTube algorithm boosting comment. He is the man. Just came up as it's like as a super chat, but it didn't pop up on the screen. Anyway, I don't know what you're doing. You got voodoo magic going on, Drew24. Maybe it's because you've got the wrench now that it did that. Taryn Broad said there was 24 people in the under 80s. He is your winner, ladies and gentlemen. I believe it. That's correct, isn't it, Matt? Taryn won it. Yeah, one of the guys from your too. Yeah, Taryn. I didn't recognize him at first. I honestly didn't. The haircut and the weight cut. I was like, who's this dude that's just freaking crushing people? Oh shit, it's Taryn. Okay, that makes sense. Good stuff. Neil jumped back in that debate on the WAF. You guys are still cracking that out in the comment sections. Strict rules of WAF. I was asked to comment about WAF. So to answer the other part of the question, in my eyes, John and Devon respective legacy cannot to scratch. Both men are phenomenal pullers. Yeah, as in, I think he's saying, whatever, I probably didn't read that properly, Neil. I apologize for murdering it, but I think he's saying that their legacies are a sure thing. Locked up, good and done. Really nothing can tarnish them. The old man arm wrestling says the 5 men to 1 George Foreman match tarnished his early legacy. Yeah, interesting. It did, didn't it? I remember I saw was it you who showed me, Matt? I don't know. I feel like, was it you?
It probably was. Yeah. Yeah. So
I just said before you explain the details of it, and I know every person about it. I watched it the other day, and I remember seeing it going, oh, look at that. So George thought he was out there to prove a point and make himself seem dominant, and the crowd actually ended up wanting the other dudes to win. They were like, come on, knock him out. So it totally backfired on George. Is that right?
That's absolutely correct.
There we go. Sap B, he is disagreeing with Neil. They're arguing in the comment section. Sap, i.e. Murray Mackay from Western Australia. Sap hasn't disputed that claim so far in this live, I will note. He's at it. Look, let's see if this makes Sap happy. Sap is actually the first man in Australian arm wrestling history to stand on the WAF podium. If that is Murray Mackay, that is a true fact. Murray, he's got that forever against his name. The first Australian to stand on a podium at WAF was Sap the Murray Mackay B. Very good. Now let's see if he gets if he loves it. It's definitely Murray. Bit of hashtag love Bowen. Look at that from WA, USA. WA, what's the state of WA in USA? Ooh. Washington, of course. Gee whiz. Come on, Ryan.
It's the Irish flag.
Yeah, man. I'm all over the shop. And you've been awake longer than I have. Neil says, Marcus, you're an animal, mate. Hoping you enjoy the holiday. Thompson, don't stop. Arm Wars, don't stop. Neil Pickup, don't stop. Sanka, he's back in. I'm just clicking comments. You guys could have said anything. I have no idea if it's a good comment or not. I'm just clicking them because I'm way behind. You both make good points, but I hate to see Levan on the bench all year or having super predictable matches. It is true. Levan benched is it's an unfortunate kind of circumstance. I don't know what we do about it, Matt. Give us in 10 seconds. Give us what we do about it.
Doesn't have to stay benched. Doesn't mean he has to be in super matches. He can promote himself in other ways. Do that.
Sounds good. I like it. I like these 10-second answers. This is good. Marcus Thompson says 100% Levan is the top best puller across the universe, but he, not Devon, no one Devon. What's going on? Can I read, or is Marcus gone tired too? But he, not Devon, no one Devon. He got it all, but I feel Devon will go many different paths now. Okay, I go with I'm picking down what you're putting up, Marcus, in the end there. He's not Devon. No one can be Devon. Devon is a unique combination of arm wrestling ability and personality. Super likable dude. So he can, like we saw, you see him post in a bloody jiu-jitsu gi or whatever they call it, as a white belt with his son. Like, that's awesome. Who wouldn't enjoy watching Devon Larratt go and learn that and progress that with his son? Cool stuff. So he's got a lot of options open to him. Nexy. I think if Larry Wheels had a video where Levan is over practice pulling against two impressive arm wrestlers, that would go over well. Nothing like money on the line, though. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, anything Levan touches will be interesting. Practice pulls might be his main form of arm wrestling content that we see. Him traveling and practice pulling is interesting at the end of the day. It is. Even though it's not a formalized match, it's very interesting. I know I'm watching, and I'm seeing Matt Connolly nod as well. Marcus Thompson says Neil's had get as many beers in last night before the kids wake up. There we go. That's why Marcus Thompson is typing loosely, we'll say. Sap's back. Murray, Devon will do what he does best now, or what he do beats now. He'll duck enemies and all legitimate matches and go to 242 and fight someone easy in a rule set where he is allowed to have 5 minutes setups and early starts like king of the table. Well, who are the people at 242? Hutchins, Prudnik, Brzenk, Ongarbayev, Petrenko, and then it starts to fade a little more. Irakli, if I didn't say him already. At 242, I don't think Devon fears any of those guys. I think he would happily pull them. Devon Prudnik at 242. Hell yeah. Marcus
Not a
says,
big enough
thanks.
challenge.
You're welcome, man. What was that one, Matt?
That video interview you did with Devon, where he said he needs to have something that scares him, that's going to motivate him. I don't think Emu scares him enough.
Ooh. So you don't think Devon will ever entertain it?
I think he will. Maybe at some point. It depends on the way it plays out over the next few months to a year. And if it gets to the point where, like Devon said, if he feels that this is a huge enough challenge that he feels like he's putting his life on the line, then sure. But I love that comment there from Nashville Arm Wrestling.
When of the afternoon, morning, wherever you are, did you all pick the same voice? Did you all pick the same voice on Pick a Voice Day or what? Can you just read that comment for me, Matt?
Do y'all pick the same voice on Pick a Voice Day or what?
Yeah. I love it. You're definitely not the first person to say it. I think it's a super cool factor. That's why the show is called The Deep End, because we are in that deep monotone sort of zone. And if you do close your eyes, you can get confused as to what's going on. We've even had our children get it wrong. We've had our children get it wrong as to who's talking right now. So
that's my favorite game.
Neil is coming to a conclusion with Sap the beat. They're going to agree to disagree is my prediction on this one. Let's break it down. Neil Pickup says, okay, no worries, Sap. To be fair, brother, I like both. John and Devon. It could be argued that you are not a fan of Devon, mate. Wink. It's interesting, isn't it? Like the fans are an important part of a sport. They are a fabric of the sport. The ones that are super passionate are probably, I actually think that they're like, on the fan basis, they're the ones that really hold the sports together. They're the ones that buy the tickets. They're the ones that wear the jersey. They're the ones that wave the flag. Incredibly important to the ecosystem of the sport and its growth. And I agree with you, Neil. Pretty sure Sap is a John fan and far less that of a Devon fan. But I'm sure at the end of the day, if Sap, i.e. Murray, if it was sitting there, he really does love and respect Devon. We do love our opponents. Without the controversial opposing opinion and the subsequent team or athlete associated with that, we don't have sport. So we love the guys we hate on the table. Don't you, Murray? All right, what's going on? Papuna. By the way, seeing Matt, is that Jules guy arm wrestling still the one who almost injured you? What's the update on Jules? He's still living in the local area, and is he pulling and keeping safe?
Yeah, no, the guy is good. He's a great arm wrestler. That first night, there was some questionable things that he did, and we've addressed that. We moved on, and he's a very solid part of the SA Titans club. He's very respectful. He teaches people, gives all of his knowledge that he can to everyone every time he turns up, and he will be competing at Garage Wars on the 27th of August in a
Who's the opponent?
Yeah, it's a sort of a round robin 4-man all in thing that he's doing with Taryn Broad, the number one guy from New Zealand, whose name is
lightweight guy. Yeah, Barnett, Josh Barnett.
Yes, and Josh, the guy who presses from New South Wales, from
Big dude.
God. No,
Big
no,
dude.
with the glasses,
Oh,
under
Barker,
70
Josh.
kilo. Josh Barker, yes,
Okay.
sorry. All their names are
Nice.
so similar, it confuses me.
Josh, yeah, Josh Barnett, Josh Barker, they're all the same. Hey, that's pretty cool to hear. Glad to hear that he's now a massive part of the club. Is he still doing the crazy training that made him famous, where he's literally banging his elbow with hammers and stuff?
No, I don't think so. But he's
Okay.
training very hard and he's getting better constantly.
Nice. Good stuff. All right, what else we got in here? Let's have a look. Marcus Thompson says, got to give credit to all these top guys. We all banter and slag, but these guys are the top of the cream. If never been elite in a sport, you will never know it. It's a unique community, isn't it? The guys at the top, and I'm fortunate enough to be friends with a number of them, and it's a fascinating perspective to watch these guys that are truly the best in the world do their thing. There's far more to it than meets the eye when you see fans with opinions and judgments and praises and tearing others down, and you can understand from their perspective why. But when you get to see the inner circle of how those guys behave, there's a lot more to it. That's all I say. And I would go as far as saying the people that you hate, you probably would like them if you were on that perspective where you could see what was actually going on in their world and how it all comes to be. And likewise, the people that you love, you would probably love them more and go, oh, wow, look at that. That's even really cool. So they are good dudes. And I agree with you, Marcus Thompson. Thanks for pointing that out. They are all top. And it is difficult to know what it's like to truly be at the top. You ever been at the very top of anything, Matt Connolly?
Top of the losing ladder.
No, you're top of the won't stop arm wrestling no matter what endurance ladder.
Yes, there you go. I could do that.
No problem. You won't quit. You can't make Matt Connolly pin himself. He just won't. He just really won't. Good stuff. Okay. Well, look, here we go. Here's a bit of fan controversy. Fighting with Sap the B. Kano83 says, Sap the B, I can't take your opinion seriously. You dribble so much hate towards Devon. There we go. Look, so Kano's somewhere in between. He's probably slightly John, more than Devon, but he likes both. So he's like, I can't deal with it. But that's the ecosystem we're in. We love all of you guys. What else we got? Andre reckons Devon is number one under 110 kilos. Hopefully we find out. Again, I'm so far behind on comments, guys. I'm enjoying actually going through and not missing comments and actually doing everything. So we've been on for 57 minutes. I just need to say that we won't be able to stay around for too much longer. I can hear that my wife's preparing my one meal of the day. I normally would have more, but I'm only doing one because I got to get to Ray's 90 kilos. Hi, Ray. So I'm only having one meal, and it's being chopped up, and I can hear it coming. So I got to go do the right thing. Marcus Thompson reckons Sap is Evan Burgoyne. He hating on Devon, not back him on his live to wrestle me for 5K. I don't know, Marcus. Maybe I'm like 95% Murray Mackay, and again, Sap has not disputed any of that today, and he's I don't know, just so. If you ever meet Murray in person, Marcus, you'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, this dude's Sap. This dude, yeah, everything about him. Have you met Murray Mackay, Matt?
I haven't. No, I haven't met Sap the Bee.
Murray Mackay, he's a really fascinating dude. The same way that Sap prods like this, Murray does that in real life in a very entertaining fashion. He will prod and prod and prod. He's a giant human as well. Murray Mackay is the tallest arm wrestler in Australia by a margin. If you I think he's 6'7" or something like that. He's genuinely a tall dude, and his frame, he's not a skinny 6'7". He's a solid 6'7". So it's like he's a big dude, and he gives he talks a lot of shit, and he loves it. He loves it. He stirs the pot, but he's a good dude at the base of it all. And so I don't know, man, it sounds like Murray Mackay. What else we got? Ian reckons you're an alien. You're a clone of me with that voice. The clone move embodied. What else we got? Matt, he says, Jesus, Matt must be half Irish. You half Irish, Matt Connolly?
Yeah, Irish ancestry, absolutely.
There you go. And do you like Conor McGregor?
No, I don't. No, I'm not a fan, man. Especially in the last couple of years with all of the antics, but I wasn't a fan from the start. But yeah, if you're a fan of Conor McGregor, that's fine. You could be a fan. I don't hold it against anybody. I just don't like the guy.
There's we'll conclude the Devon John argument with this one from Neil Pickup. I like it. He says they're very different, sure, but one thing about which I can categorically assure you, and keep in mind, guys, Neil is like when we talked about being in that circle of knowing what's really going on for everyone. Neil's is probably as far in the circle as you can be. So this opinion has weight, we'll say. So what he can categorically assure us is that both Devon and John ducked nobody in capitals from anywhere in the world. Trust me, once again, in capitals, I know that. It was hard to get matches. There we go. And that's ultimately where it's at, like when we talked about Devon's job. It took him away from the space. Hey, good to see. Good to swee. There we go, combining my words. Good to swee. Sweden arm wrestling television. Good to see you, Craigie. I could give him a sub. He's consistent. This man's consistent. I met Craigie in 2015. He's a good dude. Real nice dude. Has a way cooler accent than Matt Connolly and I. And he's consistent. He works hard. Go and give him a sub. I think he's cracked 10,000. Well done, sweet. Look at that. I still can't do it. Well done, Sweet TV and Craigie. Good job, man. I'm losing it. I'm going downhill. There's too many comments. This is giving me flashbacks to our live when we had 18,000 people live, Matt, and I couldn't keep up. The difference today is I'm trying to read every single one versus just trying to not lose a super chat.
Let's do a 10-second each comment till we catch up.
We were getting we were live for a total of 7 hours, and the average for the entire 7 hours was 2 comments a second. The average.
Yeah, it was just flying.
Oh, it was bizarre. But it was an experience. Hey guys, I'm going to apologize because I'm not going to be able to get to the end of this. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom to see the people who are commenting more in real time right now, and see if there's anything in particular. Oh, there we go. Now I understand what Drew24, he's explained to me. He said, this message is from Matt's stream. Guess how you have to set it up with Restream. So all the purple comments that I'm seeing are from people. Oh, look, there's Dave Stockbridge. Look at that. Dave Stockbridge. Paired. I get it. Yeah. So now I know which comments are specifically your subs, Matt. Now that makes sense. So this one's for you. That's the comment from someone on your channel.
Yeah, he's probably telling me that it's Josh Barker because I couldn't think of what it was, but yes.
He must. The comment came through now, but yeah. What else we got? Drew says, Rumblebone, Raw U is better. Have slow mode turned on next. You have a huge stream. Yeah. Is there a slow mode? I didn't even know that there's a slow mode. Shit, there's a slow mode that could have saved us in that 18,000 craziness. I don't know how that happens, but Drew24, we will hire you to be the moderator of that stuff next time because I was missing super chats and I felt bad. I missed $100 super chat. My dad messaged me afterwards. He's like, Ryan, you missed $100 super chat. You didn't even acknowledge the dude. I felt so bad. I had to track the dude down. And
there's nothing we could do. Those comments, literally, it was just flying, and you were scrolling trying to find them, and you go to click on it, and it would go again.
They'd probably just vanished. I couldn't scroll back up. They were gone. They were literally, it didn't matter how much they were worth. $100 one, which normally would sit there for half an hour at least, and you wouldn't miss it. It was gone in a matter of a minute. It was gone. Anyway, good stuff. Look at this. More Murray McCovens. Laugh out loud. Is Dave Stockbridge the property guy? Something only an Aussie would know. Yes, Dave Stockbridge is the real real. What do you call it? Just
Real
what?
estate agents group.
Real estate agents. There we go. 36 of you all go and lease your property through Dave Stockbridge.
Dave is awesome. He literally, I know you got to go. I'll just drop this in quickly because he did something awesome for the club yesterday. And that was he paid for 4 new tables to be made, which I was very happy to pick up and bring to the club. So he does the big things for the sport.
And he's a talented ring announcer as well. Really, really good ring announcer. I'm sure you'll see more of him in the future too. Like, we'll work together. Guys, thank you so much. Matt Connolly, thank you for holding this together when my brain is all over the place. Thank you for prompting me to do this. Anything on this week for you, man, before we go? What do you got?
Well, we had some big training session just gone. We had like 40 people, the biggest session we've ever had. And as before, great to have those extra tables because we really needed them. But yeah, we're building up. A lot of our guys will be competing at Garage Wars 27th of August, which Andy and Mario are putting together. And Jake, the Aussie arm wrestler, is a sponsor, as well as Dave Stockbridge from Real Estate Agents Group. So we have a lot of our guys moving towards that event.
Wicked. Sounds like a good event. I can't wait to watch it. Garage Wars. For me, the pick on that one, I want the Fatali Mateo Brett Coots match. Very interested in that match. Going to be good. Both those guys badasses. So can't wait. Matt Connolly, wish you the best with that. Wish everyone else the best. Thank you, everyone in the chat. You guys rocked it today. I really enjoyed hanging out with you guys. To all the commenters in particular. Neil Pickup, thank you for sharing your time and expertise on the matter. Sap the B, MVP today. I think you and Neil went at it. Marcus Thompson, regular. There were the Drew 24 teaching us about slow mode and everything. Savage arm wrestling and a lot of the regular names. I do apologize if I've missed anyone else in there that was a regular, but we love you guys. Phil Woody UK, I can see one there. Proving Astrology, all of the names. Rattle you guys off. But we'll see you guys again soon. And we'll get the monetization happening for Matt Connolly and myself soon. We'll get there. Don't worry. All right, guys.
Thanks, everybody.